Dear ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you a short introduction into the lecture Mobility Solution Design Foundations, and also start with a short introductory question regarding mobility solutions. But first, a short introduction into the lecture. Mobility Solution Design is a course which you will face in the first, in your second, and in your third semester. In the first semester, as the title indicates, we want to deal with mobility solution design foundations, which means that you should have a clue about what is meant by the term mobility solution, and even more important, how mobility solutions could be developed. In the second semester, the mobility solution design course will then deal with methods for evaluating mobility solution with respect to business aspects, but also more important with respect to sustainability aspects. And in the third semester, the focus will be on specifying mobility solutions. That means what could be methods in order to design, to specify a mobility solutions which provides value for different stakeholders. And in order to prepare the second and the third semester, we will now talk about the foundation level. That means what are mobility solutions, and then one method at least how a mobility solution could be developed. And the course of this lecture now in the first semester is that I want to provide you a brief introduction into mobility solutions as such. That means what do we mean by this term mobility solution? So why don't we call them products, services? Why do we call them solutions? And after this introduction, I will stress then the credit requirements. So the task for this lecture is to create a paper, a seminal paper, in a group of 2 or 3 students. How should the paper look like? What are the requirements? And then in the third section, we will then discuss a process how mobility solutions could be developed. And the approach I will introduce to you is the design thinking approach, which is a newer development, which is also subsumed under the term agile methods of product development. And the process consists of 5 steps. The first step is to define the problem you want to solve. A second step is to research and to understand the stakeholders of a certain mobility solution. Then, when you have understood what the needs of the stakeholders are, to ideate solutions. And not also to ideate solutions, but also to create a prototype of the solutions which you can present to the stakeholders, and on which basis you will receive feedback from the stakeholders so that you can refine your prototype in further iterations of the process. That are the 5 steps, and my plan is to show you the steps and to take one specific example, how to reduce the traffic congestion in Stuttgart. And that I show you some methods to do the steps, and your task will then be to apply these methods to a research question you will elaborate in your seminal paper. And if we have time, then we can also discuss a few aspects, because the result of the design thinking process will be a validated prototype. But there are some miles to go from a validated prototype till a marketable solution. And therefore, so the last aspects will be, what do you have to do till the launch of your solution? In the end, you have then an overview over possible mobility solutions, over a process, how you can develop it, and then you should be able to transfer this to your seminal paper. In order to do the seminal paper, I have also provided you a bunch of literature about mobility solutions and how to design it. And this you can use as a first step in order to get a grasp on to this topic, mobility solutions. So, but for the first step is the question, what are mobility solutions? From my point of view, that we talk about now mobility solutions and sustainable mobilities, there is one root cause about this. And the root cause is to be seen in the development of the world population. You can see here the projections of the United Nations regarding the development of the world population between 1950 and the prospect is till 2050. So we are now in the year 2020. So we have roughly 7.2, 7.3 billion people in the world. And prospectively, this number will increase in the next 10 years till 8.3, 8.5 million people. So this is observation number one. And observation number two is that a good proportion, about so more than 50% of the world population in 2030 will live in cities. So the proportion of the rural of people living in rural countries will decrease, will go down, but the number of people who will club together in cities will increase. So imagine in the year 2030 with 8.3 billion people and about 5 to 6 billion are living in cities. This is the root causes why we discuss about sustainable mobilities and mobility solution design. Of course, this development worldwide will concentrate on a few spots. So it will not be throughout the world, but it will include spots in Europe, Central Europe especially. It will heavily concentrate in parts of Asia, especially China and India and Southeast Asia. And there will be also some spots in Africa where we will face this problem. So a lot of people are living in a city, have mobility needs in the city, and will use their own cars. So these will be the hotspots in the future where we should concentrate on. And one indicator for this is the worldwide motorization rate, which is the measure of the number of cars per 1,000 people. And you can see here that the motorization rate in 2015 is increasing versus 2005, versus 10 years ago, especially in parts of Asia with about 60% increase, 180% increase within 10 years, very much in Europe and in Asia especially. So this is one indicator where the problems will arise. And so that you get a first grasp on this, I have 3 questions to you. Originally, I wanted to do this in a group work of 2 to 3 students, but now my request would be that you do it for your own. When you have a look on these 3 observations I have presented to you, please be as specific as possible in indicating what problems might be caused by the presented mobility situations. So there are a number of problems, and with every solution you design, you will address only a couple of problems, and therefore you should have an overview about the different problems which will arise. Please try to be as specific as possible to name and define the problems which will be caused by this situation. Second question, which is the second column, is who will exactly experience that as his or her or their problem. This addresses the stakeholder part of it. I don't have the point of view that we have something like environmental problems, because the environment doesn't see a high motorization rate as its problem. There are always some stakeholders which should be known who will perceive certain situations as their problem. And please name the stakeholders, because they are the most important part when you design mobility solutions. For whom is this mobility solution will be designed? And the third question will be, based on the identification of the stakeholders, what may this person or this group view as an effective solution? There are always some proposals in place what certain stakeholder groups will demand, what they will view as a possible solution. Please name, based on your assumptions, what these stakeholders will perceive as an effective solution. Please do this exercise for yourself, and we will talk about this then in via MS Teams. Thank you.